Oh, hey, I'm Joe Mack. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about the third main novella in the Sun Eater story, Dregs of Empire. Dregs of Empire deals with one of the feature characters in Sun Eater and one of the fan favorites who isn't Hadrian himself, Lorien Aristides. Dregs of Empire is very interesting because we get to see through the eyes of a secondary character, of a side character, what or who or how Hadrian is. We get to see almost right off the bat in this story, we hear from Lorien things that we don't hear from Hadrian. One of the biggest things that stuck out to me right from the get-go. I should give the rating first. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, let's cut back. Dregs of Empire with Lorien Aristides is a fantastic novella that takes place in this universe. And it really, for me, solidifies Christopher's voice in these stories. Without getting into the how exactly are we being told this story where we know that Hadrian wrote the 7 main Sun Eater novels, I don't know where the information is coming from in Dregs. There is not an in-universe explanation besides maybe that we are experiencing it as it takes place. So it's a little bit different of a mental consumer experience when you go into this to understand how we're learning this information. But nevertheless, I'm going to give Dregs of Empire out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 7. I think it was very good. I don't think that it was incredible. So I'm not going to go 8. I think that Christopher's writing, his prose, and his ability to stay in universe and always find a way to expand it is top tier, and that goes towards giving it a high grade. Lorien, a fantastic character. He is a deeply physically flawed character, as you know, if you're watching this and you've read any of the stories. He's an intus, meaning he was conceived naturally nice, but because of the eugenics and everything that's been done to palatine genes, the human body can't process it. So he's born with some abnormalities or handicaps, to speak plainly. His bones fall out of joint. He experiences constant pain. He's short. He has a lesser constitution, but highly intelligent and long-lived. Lorien's ability to overcome or persevere through these downfalls of what he was born into or born as is something that's very admirable for him as a character. And the fact that he is not a sycophant necessarily of Hadrian Marlowe, but follows him out of respect for the respect that Hadrian gave him and reciprocates that back to him for elevating him from the desk job that he was at because of his status as an intus, and allowing him to become the commander of the Red Company, tactical commander. This book also continues to expand on the Sun Eater universe and the world building or universe expanding, whatever you want to call it, that takes place within the series as a whole, and expands on the planet of Belusia, which is the Emperor's favorite prison planet. Because Lorien, after an indeterminate amount of time, is sent there after helping Hadrian escape from his shackles, from appropriately slapping the Emperor for his "she was just Tavrosi" comments at the end of Ashes of Man. We get to learn more about this planet. We get to see the inner workings of it, and surprise, it's just as corrupt as you would expect. It is a frozen wasteland, a Hoth of sorts, if you will. And it is Hoth, not Hoth. And we get to see Lorien, through his eyes, overcome the obstacles of just merely existing, let alone the obstacles of being a prisoner on this planet and going through, being also viewed as lesser than even a plebeian, right? Like there's a clear caste system or class system, more appropriately, in Sun Eater, with plebeians, patrician, and palatines. But to be Intis is to be lesser than all of them, because you are physically malformed, you are lesser, you are looked down upon. And there are many different names that they use in the story to refer to one of Lorien's status, and he prefers mutant, and it is the one that I am able to recall the best. So I am going to use mutant throughout this whenever I have to refer to that. But Christopher, and the way that he writes this, it doesn't feel different. It doesn't feel out of left field or anything. It feels embedded and grounded in Sun Eater. It is still first person. It is just from someone's point of view that isn't Hadrian, and you can feel that through the writing, because the way that actions, thoughts, and things are delivered and executed, if you will, by the character being Lorien, who we are behind the eyes of, it is very much not Hadrian. So it is nice to get a story from Christopher in Sun Eater that isn't directly from Hadrian's point of view. So jumping back to what I was going to say before I almost dove into spoilers, sorry about cracking my knuckles into the microphone, and didn't hit you with that rating before diving into the nitty gritty here. One of the things, like right off the bat, that we get from Lorien is he's talking about Hadrian, and he refers to the fact that Hadrian has been in multiple duels, multiple fights with people who have insulted Valka, whether it was for calling her a witch or Tavrosi or whatever it had been. And what Christopher is doing by using Lorien in this way is painting a picture about the emperor saying she was just Tavrosi and receiving the slap to the face that he deserved. And it doesn't say that it was a slap. Something about the way that it reads across the face makes me think that it's a slap, but he did break his nose. Could have been a punch. I think it's up for debate on where you're going to go with how he was struck. But not only do we learn that Hadrian has excluded some of the actions that he's taken throughout his journey in the main novels of these other people that he has physically fought for insulting Valka or speaking the way that they've been raised about Valka because she's Tavrosi. And we get to see Hadrian through someone else's lens. But we also now learn and have the end scene of Ashes of Man kind of solidified more, and to understand why Hadrian would act the way that he did, because he's been doing this. And not only that, but it shows that the emperor, albeit whether he was ignorant or whatever the reason was for him making that comment, should definitely have known better. This was a known quantity, the way that Hadrian thought about this woman, about his, for all intents and purposes, his wife, who he was not married to, but the love of his life. It shouldn't have been surprising for him to have reacted the way he did. And to get these insights into Hadrian right off the bat, I thought was very enjoyable. It was super nice to see and to learn about Hadrian from someone else's perspective. Obviously, Hadrian being the narrator of the main novels is going to kind of, and I think he's attempting not to sugarcoat everything, but he's excluded some stuff that may have painted him in a little bit of a lesser light. I think that Dregs of Empire does a really good job at showing how Lorien uses his shortcomings, pun intended, to overcome certain obstacles, to fit into tight spaces or hide. And he uses the brains that he is not expected to have, because people assume of him the worst or the least. And he's able to utilize that to turn common welding equipment into a weapon, to hide from Martian legionnaires, to ingratiate himself with the mythical almost population of Belutia that are not prisoners, the people who have been able to survive on the planet without just they're called outborn. So they're raised and living on the planet as a people, as a civilization, where they're not prisoners, they're not being provided anything, and somehow they are able to find their way. I think that Dregs of Empire is a very enjoyable story, especially if you like Lorien as a character. If you like Sun Eater as a whole, I think that every story that is included is reading that you should do. As far as required reading for the entire Sun Eater mythos as it stands, I would have to say that I don't think that it is 100% necessary. There is one scene that takes place near the end of this novella that actually deals with Hadrian. And the importance of that scene on the overall story, I don't think you would be missing out if you didn't read it. I think that your experience is improved, is effectively more complete by reading this novella. I think that it is worth the ebook money, or however you can get it. You can get Dregs of Empire as an ebook. I think that, especially if you like Sun Eater, it's worth it if you like Lorien. If you're on the fence and you want to know, do I need to read this to understand Disquiet Gods? No. The answer is no, you do not. In fact, I think that there's an argument to be made that it might be more enjoyable if you read Disquiet Gods first and then go back and read Dregs of Empire. As it, in a filmy or like filmography or storytelling fancy way, serves you as the reader better, not knowing certain things and then going back and being like, oh, that's what they mean. But with that being said, this story made me enjoy Lorien as a character even more. And I'm looking forward to, as I'm reading Disquiet Gods now, to seeing how Lorien is reintroduced to the mainline books. Let me know. Are you reading the Tal stories, the novellas, in between the Sun Eater books as you progress along your Sun Eater journey? Or are you reading the mainline books now and you're going to go back, read Tals, read the novellas like The Lesser Devil or Queen of Mid-Ashes, The Guns of Pharaohs, to learn what happened in between Empire of Silence and Howling Dark? Is Lorien one of your favorite side characters? Get in those comments. Love you. Bye. Get in those comments. Get in those comments. Get in those comments.